So by the time maybe some people connect, I'll just grab some water. So, hey. I'm super happy to be live today. Today I want to talk about period and menstruation and the cycle we go through. And I have a full class on Magnetic Queen about this because this is a very important, very magical subject, and it can be very complex in a term that there is a lot of aspect to it. But I just want to talk a little bit more about it today because I remember my first experience with my period is even before I bleed ever, I heard my grandmother saying to my grandmother, "Oh my God, my first period was such a painful experience. Like I had blood everywhere running all the way down to my legs, and it was terrible and I didn't know how to deal with it." And I was a little girl, and I was like, what the fuck is that? I'm so fucking scared. Like, now it doesn't seem like anything, you know? But when you never bleed, like, it was just so scary for a little girl to hear my grandmother talk about this way. So anyhow, now I'm very connected to my cycle, and it was a long discovery over the years, and my story with my cycle is actually a bit of, I was on the pill very young and it fucked up my body. Like I had to try 6 different brands of the pill before maybe at some point, like doctors and stuff, they realized like maybe just the pill is not for you. I had just a very terrible experience with the pill, and I'm not getting into that. And then I was off the pill, and I was just like following my cycle. So I had this app on my phone and I was following my cycle and when I was ovulating, but I was still disconnected from my body, so I didn't really know. And then I discovered yoga and meditation and body awareness and everything, and I could see and observe, and I get to know my body better and know my mood and my hormones. I could feel that it was changing with time and different period in the month. Also how empowered I feel, or sexual I felt, or how moody, and just leave me alone. So I got to have an idea a bit more about my cycle, and I was following them but on this app, but it was very still not that conscious. Proof is I got pregnant with my ex-partner, my ex-partner, when I was still dating the guys. And from my abortion story, again, not getting into deets right now, but I learned really how important it was to be in tune with my cycle. So it was more from a traumatic experience that I didn't want to repeat, of course, because I thought I was connected to my cycle, which obviously I was not. And then I realized, okay, I need to be more in tune. I want to be more in tune with what's going on in my body, because I don't want to be on the pill. I want to be fully natural. And I was supposed to get this T-shaped thing, contraception, and then I fell in love with a girl. And now I'm not going back. So this is a problem less, but it's still super damn important. After this messy intro, I want to jump right into how it is important to get in tune with your cycle. So basically there is 4 stages to your cycle, to keep it very simple, because again, I have a full class with details and how, like, what kind of food to eat, what kind of things to do, like what does it mean to be in those different stages in your cycle. But I don't want to overwhelm you, and the whole class will be in my online program. The first stages is your menstruation, so when you bleed. This is your inner winter. The second one is between your menstruation and your ovulation. This is the follicular phase. This is your spring. Then you have your ovulation phase, which is your summer. You're in full bloom. And then you have your inner autumn, which is the luteal. I don't know how you say that in English. But this is just pre-menstruation again. And basically what happened is it will be different for some women. And again, like, the length of your cycle is not an indicator of normal or not normal. I really don't believe in that. I thought I had a problem for a very long time because I had very long cycle, and then I start doing my research and learning way more about it, and I realized this is okay. The length of your cycle doesn't mean shit. So again, I'm just I'm just very rude tonight. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm on day 4, which means I'm in my menstruation, in my inner winter. So maybe that's why I'm so rude. Okay, so coming back to what I wanted to share initially. This is a very good indicator of, like, for me in my business, for example, or even in my personal life, I know when it's better to rest and retreat and be in my little cocoon. Like, I need to rest. I need to take time. This is inner winter. I need more nourishing food. I need to take care of myself more. This is where I'm in my autumn and winter season. So just after the ovulation and getting closer to menstruation plus menstruation. And then when I'm in my ovulation phase, this is usually when I feel very creative and very sexy, and I want to be on camera. I have so many ideas. I feel strong. I feel like I want to work harder. I feel like I can take on projects and stuff that initially scares me, but I can go for it in that moment. And this is also hormonal, you know, this is obviously hormonal. And something very interesting is that we go through those cycles every single month. So the way you feel right now in your cycle, you will only feel that way. You will only have these structures in your hormones 12 times in the year. Isn't it insane? Like, I love that. I think it's fascinating. And for that, learning and tracking your cycle. So I've been tracking my cycle for a long time. Didn't prevent me from getting pregnant. So I would highly recommend to be very consistent with it if you don't want to get pregnant, or even especially if you want to get pregnant, actually, to know when you are ovulating, and by tracking it very mindfully, not just getting on your app and just like, yeah, okay, bleeding, whatever. You get to know yourself, your bodies, and the message that your body is sending you during those different stages way better. And this really helps you to understand yourself. This is also about self-knowing. This is very powerful. Something that I love as well is I feel like we've been taught that periods are the worst moment of the month, that this is so annoying, and that I wish I wasn't a woman. Whoever say that anyway. But I grew up in that. I grew up with friends and family, and even in the media or the movies, like, oh, she must be on her period. Like, let's normalize, let's sacralize the menstruation phase of your cycle. This is a beautiful time. This is a time where you flush, you purge, you get rid of new layers, you get rid of some stuff, you let go. This is such a potent time of your cycle. And maybe you're super comfortable with your period, and maybe you enjoy your menstruation, and of course it can come with pain. And I also experienced menstrual pain, and I used to feel a lot of pain before. And since I really made peace with it and see all the sacredness in it, I swear that I do feel pain, but not so much, and it's fine. I don't use any pharmaceutical medicine, like traditional medicine, or anything, because the relationship with that time of the month will highly impact how you feel. If you resist it so much, if you're like, oh my god, I hate it, I hate this moment of the month, chances are it's gonna be painful and it's not gonna be nice. And chances are then you're gonna hate it even more and resist it even more, and it's not gonna be so amazing. So really seeing the sacredness of it. I know for some women it can be a very not pleasant moment of the month, but life is not pleasant anyway. Shedding new layers of yourself, letting go of the old, sometimes is painful and uncomfortable. But how do you make it sacred? How do you make peace with yourself? How do you make peace with your cycle? The first thing I would suggest, again, that's just an invitation, is to really take the rest that you need when you are in that time of the month. This is crucial. Sometimes we tend to like force it anyway, and like, yeah, I don't mind having my period, I can do my life however I want. That is okay, that you can do it. Doesn't mean you should do it. I hate should and shouldn't, so I don't want to tell you what you should be doing, but this is a time for me where it's important to honor rest, to honor not pushing too hard, and really retreating, coming back into your cocoon, into really taking care of yourself to help you in that process. The second thing will be to really make peace with blood itself. It can be tricky because we grew up in a society where advertisement for tampon and pads on the TV, the blood were blue. I feel like, it was sending the message that blood is somehow disgusting. And I know it's not the case anymore, and we evolved so much more. But I know that it's still considered for a lot of people like, blood from your period, this is fucking disgusting. Well, it isn't. And I would suggest to ditch your tampons and pads and to go more sustainable and use either the cup or reusable underwears or reusable pads. This is really for me also how I made peace with my period, because treating my yoni, treating this part of my body with non-toxic thing, hey Miriam, is so damn important. Like, this is a big part in your relationship with your yoni, with your period, with your cycle, is really taking care of this area. And if you use the cup, an amazing thing to do is to actually keep the blood and to either pour it in the earth or in plants, or even do a mask with it, or just like taking a moment to honor it and to sacralize it. And I know it may seem weird for some people, but this is really cool witchy stuff to do to make peace with your period. And another way to make peace with that time of the month and honor the magic that is present in here is to tap into what's going on. This is a time of the month where you can receive a lot of intuitive and creative kind of thing. Even though in your summer you will have this energy of full bloom of like, yeah, this is it, I want to shine, I'm creative, I'm here. Well, you get a lot of downloads and ideas, and it's a perfect moment to reflect and to get in tune with your intuitive gifts in that period of the month. So this is magic as well. What else? I think that's it. I don't want to give too much details again because I have a full class on that, and I want to keep this live short and concise. But my invitation for you is really to track down your period and connect with the magic of your, not your period only, your whole cycle. And check how you feel. And you may notice some patterns. You may notice that indeed in your ovulation, you took more risk. You were more present. You were more creative. And maybe in your menstruation, that's where you felt lower. And maybe everything that happened in a cycle will also influence the way you live your period. Let's say you had a very intense and emotional month. Maybe your period will be more challenging this month. This has a great impact. But that's why tracking and seeing and observing, and not just in a stupid app, like I love those apps and I still use them, but also doing it by hand very intentionally, it's magic. So let's reclaim our power, let's reclaim our blood and this magic time of the month. I remember reading that in ancient time it was a very sacred moment where women will retreat and you know, this red tent idea of like they were celebrating together. And something that I learned recently is to make a period, a party to celebrate your first bleed. And I'm like, oh my god, if only I knew that, if only in my family, the female in my family, they will have celebrated that instead of like talking about how scary it was for them the first time. I won't be so traumatized. And I also invite you to normalize like period sex and blood and everything related to period, basically. Thank you for being with me tonight and on the replay. I love you all so much.